Hey there, gang. Another disclaimer right at the beginning of this. We are having internet connectivity issues throughout the latter half of the podcast. Pay no mind to them. I still edited out all the wonky parts, and I think everyone's point got across just fine. So please enjoy the show, and we'll check you out in the next one. Hey, welcome everybody to the Review, a show where two small-town dudes and again a small-town guest give you our big, dumb opinions. I am Troy to the Max Extreme.
And, I did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs.
And again, Hot Take Havens is in the hot seat. We are...
Woody!
We are traveling down the Kessel Run, and this episode we are doing Solo, a Star Wars story for Star Warantine. We are doing all of these in chronological order, the worst way to watch these movies. for the first...
Especially this one, Jesus.
For
so much shit.
Yeah. This is, so to remind the listeners, if maybe this is their first listen to this, Coach Havens, this is your first viewing of any Star Wars movie ever, correct?
First viewing of any Star Wars movie more than like a 1-minute clip ever.
What a wild ride we've been on already. We've done episode 1, episode 2.
In fact, it's getting so wild that I don't know if you're well aware of this, Hot Take Havens, but your wife has secretly messaged me and Troy complaining that you are now saying Star Wars sayings around the house.
You know, this is not false. It is happening. And I think I'm making sayings up because I was walking around the pool yesterday going, me Jabba, me Jabba.
You're combining Jar Jar Binks and Jabba the Hutt.
Well, damn it, they're like two of my favorite characters.
And we have really yet to see Jabba the Hutt, really. I mean, we've seen him briefly, but we have not seen him, you know, in his full form yet.
What are you talking about, Troy? We've watched his son be kidnapped.
Oh, I'm
Poor
so
Stinky.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
Poor Stinky.
So we tonight are getting into Solo, a Star Wars story, our first, not divergence into a side story, but our first Disney side story since they've owned the property. And we're going to see how that fares as well. Hot Take Havens, you said you had some notes, but not as many as usual.
Yeah, so I think the notes have become kind of a little funny ha-ha on the podcast. But I didn't take a lot of notes on this movie because, honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay.
Whoa.
And, yeah, I really liked it, but I had a few complaints as far as... there was such long scenes in this movie that I didn't get a lot of notes because they were kind of just, it didn't get boring, but it just felt very drawn out. They could have done something in 5 minutes, but instead they took 20 minutes.
Okay. And we'll get to that. Why don't we get to why don't we get a little bit of like some box office facts? So this movie came out May 25th of 2018. Had a budget of... It's one of the most highly budgeted movies of all time. It's at $275 million.
Jesus.
Mostly because... Well, I'll tell you why. This movie was pretty much shot twice. I'll get into that in just a little bit. So, domestically, this movie made $213.8 million, and worldwide, just shy of $400 million at $392.9 million. This movie would need to make $500 million to break even. And it did not make that. So, it was a bit of a loss for Disney. Needless to say, Rotten Tomatoes has us at 70%. IMDb has it about roughly the same at 6.9 out of 10. Metacritic at 62%. And Filmy, which is a Greek site, gives it 2.5 stars out of 5.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, yeah. There
Well,
we
a couple
go.
of pissy Pete's over there, huh?
Now, a fun fact for this movie is that, Troy, we've actually reviewed this in the past.
Yes. I do remember that. I didn't go back and listen to it because I didn't want to I didn't want to really sully my thoughts what I had on it, like watching it very recent to its release to where I kind of landed on it today because I rewatched it this morning.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I even graded it back then. I'll go back and
I don't either. I was thinking about going back and listening to our review. But, yeah, like you said, I was thinking it'd be more fun to just kind of get my thoughts on it just based on my latest viewing of it.
Yeah. So, old Hot Take Havens over there. I almost called you a Hot Take Heathen.
Hot take.
I'll take it.
What, could you give us a brief synopsis on what happened in Star Wars? Or,
can I?
Star Wars?
Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Can I? I'd love to. It is a lawless time. Crime syndicates are out for food, medicine, and a drug, I think, called hyperfuel. In Corellia, Lady Proxima runs kids into crime with promises of shelter, and a young man yearns to be on Star Search. Okay, so fair enough. I had no idea what to expect going into this movie. So I just wrote down what they put in like the little scroll at the front of the movie.
That sounds good.
You guys last week kind of warned me about this and that I was going to be introduced to characters and given a backstory to these characters I'm supposed to care about, but I have no idea who they are yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I did not know what to expect. So I went into this expecting very little. And I came away with a little bit of appreciation for it.
Okay. So,
all right.
I think that was generally everybody's viewpoint going into it when it came out. So this was originally going to be directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who did like the Lego movies. And they shot like a ton of it before like the execs saw what they were filming and hated it. And so they fired them when they were like halfway done filming the movie. And then they hired on Ron Howard. And then he reshot 80% of the movie. That's why it blossomed up to such a huge budget. So I don't even know what really was what was kept at all from the the Lord and Miller version at all.
Yeah. Let's see that cut.
Yeah, release the Lord and Miller cut. Yeah.
This came out in 2018.
Yeah.
It's only 2 years old.
Yeah.
It is.
It seems like forever ago it came out, right? Well, it just seems like 2020 has gone on forever already, but it just
true.
But yeah,
we're in the third year of 2020 right now.
It only came out 2 years ago, almost to the day.
So again, for people that have just tuned into the podcast, I don't Wikipedia anything. I don't look at IMDb. I don't do any internet research on these movies at all until we podcast. Because I don't want to know anything about it. I want you guys to tell me and me to just sound like I'm an absolute idiot, because I am. So I am shocked. I had this movie that I figured it came out like in 2010. I figured it was at least 10 years old.
Nope. You would be incorrect.
Yeah.
Man.
In fact, the movie we're watching next week, I think, is just a year old, like year younger than this.
Or
2 years younger than this.
I don't.
Yeah, it's 2 years.
Okay. Yeah, it came out in 2016.
Yeah.
Ooh, what are we watching next week? I can't wait to find out.
We'll tell you at the tail end of the show.
Well, we'll let you know.
Tail
end of the show.
But yeah, so Han Solo, obviously a super popular character that Cole, you're meeting for the first time in this movie, in his solo movie. I would like. I don't want to say like it's spoiling. It's hard to say what you would take from this into future movies because I've never been able to like experience that. But like literally everything in this movie is just like filler information on how he got to the points in the next couple like original trilogy movies. Literally any information that's brought up in those original trilogy movies is done here in this movie.
Yeah.
So in other words, the next 3 movies are going to be boring as shit for me.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Like any mystery behind the character of Han Solo, where like, how did he meet Chewbacca? How did he get the Millennium Falcon? How does he know this person? Where did he get his gun? All of it is just all done in this one movie, and that's what drives me insane about this movie, is that everything that is elusive about Han Solo happened in like a week.
Yeah. Part of the charm of Han Solo in the original trilogy is that he could be full of shit on everything he's saying, but this movie solidifies that it was all true, and it makes me hate him a little bit.
Yeah, I do not like that this movie exists, but saying that, I do enjoy this movie.
Yeah, I think out of anything Disney's put out in terms of Star Wars, this movie feels more like how I felt watching the original trilogy.
Okay, yes. Of every one of the Disney outputs, this is most... I feel like this is the most original trilogy feeling, yes.
Yeah.
It does have modern sensibilities to it, like modern film styling and all that kind of stuff, but it does have that... Maybe it's just Ron Howard, because Cole even said this movie felt older than what it was.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
But even like the aesthetic, like in terms of like how people dress, like it feels more like the 70s, like how Star Wars, like when Star Wars was made, like even down to what's her name? Like she has like a legit like afro, where it's like it's space, but it feels more like with like a 70s aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I'm trying not to like divulge too much into the next coming movies, but it's hard to do with this. Do you know what I mean, Joel? It's like everything.
So let me chime in here, because this is one of my questions I have later.
Okay.
Is this movie necessary?
No.
No.
It is not. It is not.
That gives into my final grading of the movie later, because I liked the movie, but at the end of it, I was thinking, now I don't even know what's coming, but I kind of have an idea of what's coming.
Yeah.
And I just thought, is this movie even necessary in the whole series?
No, this movie is total and utter fan bait. Like it's to draw off of things that have been said in other movies you haven't seen yet. Which I love the fact that you've watched this before those.
Yeah, it is completely unnecessary, because Han Solo is... What's great about him is the mystique of the character. He's a rebel. He's like a bit of a scoundrel, and what he says that comes out of his mouth might not be true. And so that's what's great about him coming up. That I think you'll actually like him, Cole. Like regardless of what you think of him in this, even if you like him in this, I think you'll still like Harrison Ford, his portrayal of him coming down the line. But like,
wait, Harrison Ford plays Han Solo?
Oh, come on!
What? You don't know that?
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
That's one of like his most famous roles.
Okay, you're talking to a guy who's never really watched Star Wars. Come on.
I feel like
Let's get with the whole Star Warantine program here.
Okay, that blows my mind that you know way less than I thought. that really upsets the apple cart. Okay.
Man, I am looking so forward to you getting into the original trilogy.
God damn.
Oh my god. So I get Woody Harrelson now and I get Harrison Ford oh my god, I'm so excited.
Okay. Let's dive into the plot a little bit, okay? So I do like that it's kind of like a background, like a little background information on Han Solo, that he was trying to be like an Imperial pilot. I like that because the Empire is huge. Why not try out to be a pilot in the Empire, right? And he totally gets like disregarded and kicked out of whatever. I like that.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of like the whole thing of him like joining the Empire, where it's like, well, I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, and I also liked the quick. I don't even know if it's like 10 minutes, but like when he's in the shit, you know what I mean? Like he's actually in war. Like the Empire is like fighting against, and he's just like a grunt. Like he's not even a stormtrooper. Like he is just.
Like he barely has a helmet.
This is like World War I, like trench warfare shit. Like, you know what I mean? And I actually liked that quite a bit. And that happened, and it's almost like a throwaway thing, like kind of in the beginning of this. But I really liked that aspect of it. And actually this and the next movie we're going to go into, because they don't deal with like the Skywalker canon of it, I like that it's like the world that they live in, and it's how the Empire is running things, and you get to see like what life is like and not have to deal with this bloodline. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the thing I like about this and the next movie we're going to talk about is that none of them deal with the Force, really.
No, they don't even...
You can kind of see how, like, someone like when we get into the original trilogy where Han Solo doesn't even believe the Force exists, like, you can see how someone can believe that. Because it's like, in this and then even in the next one, you barely even see the Force being used.
They don't even bring up Jedi or the Force in this movie at all.
Yeah. And I like that a lot.
I had a note later on that said it was a Star Wars movie with no lightsabers. Is that even possible?
Well, technically there's one.
Wait. Did I nap during this? Where was it?
You might have. It's very quick near the end. It happens in a hologram.
Okay.
Did you nap during it? That's okay. I'll let you know what happens when we get to it.
Okay.
But and then going forward, Han Solo finding using his wits to know that these like rapscallions that are not who they say they are. I actually really like that too, and he ends up like infiltrating their gang. And I don't even really hate how he meets Chewbacca either in this.
No, I like that a lot actually.
I thought that was super cool.
Yeah. If you do a little bit, so what kind of sullies me a little bit about it, like I still like it, but what sullies me a bit is that Chewbacca in canon is like a war hero, and then in it only like gets me a little bit because like it seems like he's just easily captured and is just being tortured down in this pit. Which it's not like that's far-fetched. It's like a prisoner of war or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that he's
being used as like a makeshift, like not to spoil later movies, like a makeshift Rancor.
Yeah, kind of. Cole, I love that we can say this, and Cole's like, I have no idea. That's like 7 movies away.
I'm completely lost right now. What the hell are you guys talking about?
You'll find out. I'll totally forget by the time we get there, but you'll find out. But
it's a long ways down the line.
Oh boy.
I do like the way they meet, and how like Chewie's like code of conduct, like after he like saves his life and now he's indebted to like help Han Solo his whole life. But like I love also it's like that also he like has a legit friendship with him as well. So it's not just like his hairy manservant type deal. Like he is like legit a co-pilot. And I like that makes that prevalent in this movie as well. That he's just not like his hairy manservant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, even like as the movie goes on, and when they actually get into the Millennium Falcon, and like you see like the subtle like transition from like Lando to like what you know from the like original trilogy, where it's like, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, you just talked about Lando. Let me talk about portrayals a little bit. So Alden Ehrenreich, I thought did a pretty decent job at doing his Han Solo impersonation. He wasn't trying to be Harrison Ford, which I liked. But I really love Donald Glover's Lando.
Oh yeah.
And Cole has no reference to him whatever.
I don't know, he has no reference either. Like, so I want to ask, so Cole, like, what characters really stuck out to you in this movie?
Definitely Han Solo.
Okay.
And Woody Harrelson. Like, I'm not even kidding. I love the Woody Harrelson character.
That's fine. I
was hoping that he was not going to, the very end. We'll get to that, of course, but I was hoping that he was actually in further movies, that character, because he said he was going to like a big crime gangster. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, he's going to go see my buddy Jabba. But then he didn't make it there, and that all happened. But
yeah, well, it's kind of hard that Woody Harrelson would have to have been like, what, 13 in the original trilogy. But
oh, you know what? Before you move on, I don't know the name of this character, but I loved the pilot in the very beginning.
Oh yeah, voice
that little tiny dude. He looked like he was like a four-armed alien. Oh my god, that guy was awesome. Again, he died. Not fun.
Yeah, voiced by Jon Favreau. Yeah, he was.
What?
Yeah, he was voiced.
Oh my god,
he was voiced by Jon Favreau. I really liked him too. I totally forgot he was in this movie, and actually, that was okay. One of my complaints about this movie is that Woody Harrelson's character has this whole crew before he meets Han and Chewie, and they die. Yeah. And
they kill him off super fast.
They kill him off super fast, and he never feels like he really cares. It's not like he doesn't have any time to grieve or anything like that. It's like, they're dead.
Who seems
cares?
More pissed that he didn't do the mission than that his entire crew's dead.
Yeah. And I would assume...
But he did keep saying, he kept going back and saying throughout the movie, don't trust anyone.
Yeah, that's true, but it seems like he has like a really established relationship, at least with the chick in the movie. I can't remember what her name was. His partner in that. Like he like never... it feels like to me like they moved on too quick from that, and he never really felt any repercussions from it. And that's like one of the things I'm checking the movie for.
Yeah, and like I think they do try to establish Woody Harrelson's character as like a person that says don't trust him, to establish what Han Solo is kind of like when you first see him in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But they beat that over your head where it's like, that's why he's like the way he is. Kind of like what this whole movie is, where it's like they beat you over the head with events that you know from the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm. Once you start watching the original trilogy, Cole, like all of these questions you have about this movie are going to be like answered, and most of it's be like, why did we see this? And like, then you'll realize.
I can totally believe that
once the question is brought up later. So
okay, I can believe that because already I'm thinking like this movie's completely unnecessary.
Yeah, well, it is. So like every single Han Solo trope comes into fruition in this movie, even to the point where his name is given, and I hate that.
Most eye-rolling fucking thing.
Yeah. I do not care where Han Solo got his name. Like it could just be his name. It doesn't bother me that like his name was only Han and they had to add Solo and some weird quirk. I thought that
Where's the scene where Anakin actually walked on the sky? You fucking idiot.
Oh my god.
Fucking idiot.
It's pretty groan inducing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
terrible.
Also, but I will say it helped me out because going into this movie, I didn't know if it was Han or Hans Solo. The fact that they spelled it out in that little scene with that guy taking his name helped me out a lot.
Oh, good. I'm glad that could clear something up for you. But even to the point where like they it's like where they answer all the questions that like come up in later movies, like where does he get the Millennium Falcon? How does he meet Chewie? Even like questions you don't care about, like where did he get his blaster? How did he get it? Like just dumb stuff like that. It like who cares? That's like way too fine-tuned nerdy shit to care.
Yeah. Even random bullshit like where did the dice on the Millennium Falcon come from? Like who cares?
Yeah.
Like even Disney is like beating that over the head. Like they always bring up those dice.
They went
I didn't even know they existed.
They went all in on that. In the original trilogy, they never make any reference to those whatsoever.
Yeah, like they flashed to them maybe once in the original trilogy. Disney's like, fans will fucking jizz over these dice.
But that totally, and I haven't even watched the original trilogy, but that totally speaks to the complete stupidity of even having this movie. Because I'm sure Ron Howard probably just went and watched those original trilogies like, oh, how many things about Han Solo do I have questions on? Oh, let's answer every single fucking one of them.
Yeah, it's probably true. Like, I have no idea, but any little.
And I love how you bring up Troy that it's like it all took place in the span of like a week.
Yes, everything.
Everything that makes up who Han Solo is took place on like a really cool week for him.
Like it literally is. He met Chewie. He got the Millennium Falcon. He got his blaster. And he did the Kessel Run in under 12 parsecs. Like, all of that happened in a week. That's all that Han Solo's character is. Happened in a week span of time.
He rode on top of a train for 17,000 miles.
Fortunately, that is not in the canon what's coming up later. He never brings up a train, so that's good.
Yeah.
That train goes on forever.
Yeah,
the train scene I thought was pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I did like the train scene.
But it went on forever. Like that train, like how long was this train track? My God.
Well, it's an alien world. Who knows? It could go. It'd be like Snowpiercer. It goes all the way around the world. You don't know. So I'm not gonna lie. Like I was kind of in and out of this movie during the beginning of this, but like as soon as they met Paul Bettany's character, I was way more invested in this movie. And that happens like maybe halfway through. But like for whatever reason, the stakes were raised and I was way more invested going forward from there rather than what all the bullshit happening in the beginning of this movie.
Yeah. I think for me personally, I think I liked it more the first time I watched it than this time. Maybe just because maybe I was anticipating more of what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think it's mostly just based off the fact that of like what you guys were saying beforehand, where it's like this movie doesn't really need to exist It's mostly just like a cash grab for people who know who Han Solo is. They're just like, oh yeah, that's where that happened.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have a note in here. Now, which character are you talking that he met? Is that Dryden guy?
Yeah, the guy with like the scars on his face.
Yeah, was that scratched by a cat? Okay.
Yep.
So when they walk into that place, hold on, hear me out. I forgot about this character till I was just looking at my notes. They have the lady that's singing, right? She has like half a face or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a green blob in like one of those head tanks from Futurama. Oh my God, I rewinded it to listen to that green blob singing again because it cracked me up. Go back and just listen to that green, like, oh my God, I want a buddy movie of the green blob and Jar Jar Binks. That's what I want for the next.
Oh no. Oh God.
I love you on this show so much, Cole.
But anyway, regardless, I really got into it once Paul Bettany's character was introduced. Maybe the stakes just got greater in it, and it felt like I really didn't know what was gonna happen. But like I don't remember much else from this movie besides like the train scene and seeing Darth Maul again. Like otherwise, like I don't remember hardly anything about this movie, so I was pretty stoked to see what was coming after.
Yeah, I know. Well, when me and Molly watched it, I think I fell asleep during when they actually get to Kessel, and then right when they leave it, so I had to go back and rewatch that. And then, I mean, it's okay, but even going back and rewatching it, I was like, I didn't really need to watch this.
No, you didn't.
But I think that's kind of like the main premise of this whole movie. It's like, I don't know, it's just, it's fun for what it is, but it doesn't really need to exist. Like, that's almost kind of like the whole movie in general.
Mm-hmm. So, Cole, does the Kessel Run mean anything to you?
No, not at all. It really doesn't.
So,
but that was... hold on. Now, Kessel Run, is that when they are going to the mining community?
Yeah, it's when they get the unrefined mineral and they have to race it back to get it to the refinery before it explodes.
Yeah.
Okay, so here was my confusion on that part. They mentioned in the beginning this hyperfuel stuff, right? Is that a drug, for one?
No, it's what makes ships go fast.
Yeah, I feel like this is the first time they even bring that shit up too, because they never really bring up hyperfuel in other ones. Do they?
No, I just assumed that all ships just can go fast. Like even TIE fighters can go into hyperspace.
Exactly. So that's what I thought at first. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Hyperfuel has to do with like the ships and stuff. But then when they're trying to bribe that agent to let them through the gate in the very beginning, she looks at it like she's about to go get high with it. So I was like, what is she going to do with it? I thought, oh my God, they are like selling LSD to this woman right here. Like, oh my God, what's going on? So then I was totally confused. And then they start talking about mining this stuff, and I'm like, is that hyperfuel? Is it a drug? Is everybody on crack here? What's going on? I was so confused.
So I did a little bit of like background on this. So I guess when they talk about spices in the Star Wars universe, it's like illegal drugs. What? So like anybody doing a spice run. Spices. Anytime that anyone's doing a spice run, it's kind of like a quote illegal drug. So like, but that's not what he was doing here. But I think they bring him up later on. Like Kessel is like a spice run. It's like the Silk Road or whatever it is. I don't know. But so the Kessel Run is like it'll come up later that Han Solo brags about this in future movies.
When people are thinking about hiring him as like a transport, his big claim to fame is that he did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs.
Yeah. And so it's been debated on whether that's like a unit of like time or a unit of distance. And I don't even know which one it is. I guess it's a time. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a big deal, and he did it real quick. So there you go. And then,
he did a good job.
The last half of this movie is that, and like I would loved it if that was just a completely fabricated story of Han Solo, but we obviously needed to see it in this movie.
Yeah, that's the charm of Han Solo in the original trilogy, is that like everything he could be saying to you is legit bullshit. But in this movie, is like,
yeah, but it really happened. Here it is in film celluloid. Here we are.
In a week span, it all happened.
And it took 2 hours and 20 minutes to show us.
Yeah, I actually was surprised that it was that long, because I thought after Ron Howard took over, it was like only a 90-minute movie. But then I thought about, no, that's Justice League, and that's Joss Whedon. And I was like, damn it.
Like,
just another redhead.
But all this shit, I kind of want to know, like, what Cole's idea of, like, characters that we're going to see in the future, like, so I know you're a big Chewbacca. What do you think of Chewbacca in this movie?
I liked Chewbacca. I guess I thought that he would have more like speaking roles, and that sounds stupid to say, like not like he's actually talking. Like I thought in my head, in my weird Star Wars head, that they had subtitles for Chewbacca. But they apparently don't. So I must have just totally dreamt that up somewhere. But I thought the story of Chewbacca was good. I loved how in the mining town, when he helped out his fellow Wookiees, I was a big fan of that, and we got to see some more of the Wookiees. Yeah, I like Chewbacca. Now he's more in the original trilogies, though, right? Like he's all over those.
Oh yeah, he's all over it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I
Sweet.
also liked when they went to the mining town and Chewbacca was just like, "Hold on, I'm gonna fuck shit up for a little bit." Like that was that was actually really cool, because in the original trilogy, they make reference to like how strong he is, but you never really get to see him cut loose. And I think this is the only movie where he like goes on a full on rampage.
Yeah, and like. Another thing they show in this is that they reference how he's able to rip people's arms out of their sockets, and they actually do it in this.
Yeah, that's a fact they bring up in episode 4. That I don't want to like spoil it for you, but he doesn't ever rip anybody's arms out of their sockets except for this movie.
Jeez.
But the threat is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a fan of him in the movie. Did you guys get a vibe? And this is just totally because I watched it a couple weeks ago. In the beginning, when it's Woody Harrelson's little group, totally thought for a second it was like a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Oh man.
It's kind of
just because I watched it the other day.
Yeah, it's kind of not hard. It's kind of hard to like not see that after like Guardians came out. And like any space ragtag group really feels kind of the same, especially when it's under the Disney banner as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is kind of like another train of thought. This movie and also the next one we come into, I want to bring it up now before I forget about it, because I might forget when we get to the next one. But they have like a very muted color tone, and I know like 4, 5, and 6, the original trilogy, kind of do, but like not really, because filming back then, like it's they were made in the 70s and 80s, and so like it's a bit drab. But even then, like I feel like they're a bit more colorful, and this just was not that it wasn't colorful, it was just so desaturated of color that I even had to like draw my shades and like just to see what was going on in this movie, because any light hitting my TV, like I couldn't see any goddamn thing whatsoever. And like I think that's true with this one and kind of the next one coming up, that they're just like so washed out of any color that it was like kind of annoying.
Yeah, but like in all honesty, like there's like that's kind of like an ongoing trend with like Disney in general, where it's just like some of the movies they just put out where it's like it doesn't have like a certain feel to it. They just like, well, let's give it like a gray tone. Like even some Marvel movies are kind of like that.
Yeah, I've even seen like YouTube videos about that too. And it wasn't even until like Spider-Man: Homecoming or the Guardians movies that even rectified that. And like if you watch like Winter Soldier or Civil War or anything like that, they are a muted color tone as well. And and it doesn't make like that it's a bad movie or anything like that. It's just like in a Star Wars movie where there's like alien races everywhere, and like you could go and do anything. You can be on any other planet, and it's just all like gray and brown. It's like, ugh, my God. Like, it's very tiring to look at.
Now, like, another like question that I have for Cole, because he's not been exposed to anything Star Wars up to this point. Did you feel like the character of Lando Calrissian was forced in this movie?
Yeah, he came out of left field, his whole like demeanor and everything, and he did not fit to me at all. To me, he looked like a 70s pimp.
Well,
straight down to the Lando name, and I was like, what is this? Like a card shark living with all these aliens? Straight 70s pimp. That's what I got from him.
Well, if you ever see him... I was
not a fan of Lando.
When you see him, I think in Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back, yeah.
Like, that's good. You're going to get the same vibe.
Wait, he shows up again?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God, get out of town.
But it's I mean, I don't want to ruin it for you. It's Billy D. Williams.
What? Oh, okay, never mind. I'm hooked. I'm sold.
So that's coming down further down the line, but like it's brought up that Han Solo knows this character already when you meet him later. And so this is where you meet him in this movie. Yeah. And I think and honestly I think Donald Glover does a better Lando Calrissian than Alden Ehrenreich does of a Han Solo.
I agree. He definitely. Donald Glover definitely encompasses kind of like how you feel when you see Lando in the later movies.
Yeah, it's close, but I think the Lando is a bit better.
Yeah.
But
like in their defense, like it's so fucking hard to just nail down how Harrison Ford does Han Solo.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, all there, like, gives it his all, but, like, at the end of the day, I'm like, fuck, I wish, like, a young Han Solo was playing this right now.
Yeah. I would also say that, I think it's weird that Lando, like, probably fucks a robot.
Okay, I have that as a note. What is going on with that? He has a very intimate relationship with the C-3PO knockoff.
In the latest movie, they hint that he's pansexual, to where it's like, okay, well then maybe he just fucks whatever.
All right then.
Yeah, I guess, but it comes off like doesn't just come off strange. Like, I don't mind if he's like a womanizer or whatever. if like that's his character, that's his character. But like, yeah, I have this like robot companion, and I'd probably fuck it. Like, it just seems weird that like of all of the droids that are in this Star Wars universe, this is one that you can fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a sex doll.
Kind of,
Yeah.
but it also like has great navigation. And I guess
I want to fuck something that knows where it's going.
Yeah. And I guess also in this too, like I didn't pay any attention, but I was reading the trivia later that once that L3's memory went into the Millennium Falcon, that's when it started making its like signature noises. And I didn't pay any attention to that. Like before,
Yeah, I didn't either. Because I thought it was so weird going back and watching this, where it's like they uploaded a droid into the Millennium Falcon. Like, where does that make sense in the original trilogy? But I guess it's the noises. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's just like it's the ship's personality. Because in one of the original trilogy, I think C-3PO or R2 is like connected to the ship, and it said like the ship is being rude, and I want to say like from that one line, that's where they made this entire character.
Yeah, like that's this whole fucking movie. They're trying to explain every little thing, where it's like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. Yeah, the ship's rude. Cool. I don't need an explanation behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole deal. That's the entire movie in a nutshell. Is just that. It's that one phrase.
You know what I do need explanation on? Going to my notes here. Why do we not see more of Lady Proxima down on Corellia?
That worm person?
For real. Hear me out. First time she talks. I mean, the only time she talks. We see her for like 10 seconds. The only time she talks, she sounds like Roz from Monsters, Inc.
I just watched...
I'm watching you, Wazowski. She sounds just like her. I had to Google it because I was like, okay, come on. That's got to be.
Well, so here we go. We need a Lady Proxima, Jar Jar Binks, weird head in a jar singing guy.
Oh, man.
Crossover movie.
Take my checkbook right now. Just take it.
So, like, this...
Take all my money.
This movie also is, like, it caters way too much to the hardcore fan, I think.
Yeah, way too much.
Like, maybe we already even said that, but, like, the casual fan doesn't care about any of this stuff. Like, I would say I'm a casual fan of Star Wars, right? I don't need to know about the fucking dice or where he got his blaster or any of that shit. I don't care. This should be like in one of those ultimate reference guidebooks. Like that you get that you can read about all of the Star Wars characters. But like I don't need
this whole movie should be like an episode of the Clone Wars where no one cares.
Yeah, I don't need to see a $275 million movie dedicated to backstory on Han Solo. Like it I don't care. Like if any of the characters that have their own backstory, I do not need to know Han Solo's. Like, I would rather...
Out of any of the background characters, Han Solo is the one I want to know the least about, because his whole story is so shrouded in mystery that's what makes him interesting.
Yeah.
So wait, he's a background character in the original trilogy?
No.
Not even, no, he's not, but it's like, in terms of like the characters in general, like he's the one that's so mysterious that like the fact that you don't know what's real is what makes him interesting. And this movie totally like gets rid of that by being like, see, it all happened.
Yep.
It removes the mystique.
It does, yeah.
You know what wasn't mysterious about this movie, though? Was Clint Howard. Did anybody else catch that quick appearance of my man, Clint Howard?
You better believe I spotted a Clint Howard in this movie.
Oh, I had to pause it. Just like when I rewinded to see the Green Blob sing again, I had to pause it to make sure I was seeing Clint Howard in this movie.
Oh, yeah. You better believe I caught him.
It's so hard to miss Clint Howard.
The freaking ref of the Robot Wars or whatever is going on.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I call them the UFC 3PO Wars.
UFC 3PO?
That's very good. Very good, Cole.
God damn it, Cole. We need more of you on these shows.
I'm getting in my groove now.
So,
oh, my God. And then, so... Can we get to the end with the pirates on that little island of all like the worn out Native American people?
Yeah, yes, we can.
Sure.
So when the pirate takes off the mask, did anybody else think that was Woody's daughter?
Well, seeing this before, no.
Okay, well, way to shoot down my theory right away. I've never seen this, and she takes off the hood, and they had a moment where they stared at each other, and I was like, oh, it must be his daughter. What a neat little twist. That wasn't the case. Would have been cooler if it was the case.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
But yeah, but no, instead they have to go the route of we're actually starting a pause rebellion.
Yeah. Not only is Han Solo answering every single question that you may have had from any other movie before, but he may have also started the rebellion. Like, Jesus Christ. It's a lot of baggage to put on a person.
This podcast is making both of you hate this movie even more.
But that's just
than when we started.
But that's just it. Like, I watched the movie and I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it's a fine movie. God, I felt like it was made for so many wrong.
Yeah, I wanted to like go.
But you know what was?
Oh, go ahead.
You know what was a right reason?
What?
Besides Clint Howard, at the very end, and I noticed it. I didn't have to pause it because they showed it a couple times. Willow was it?
What the fuck?
Warwick Davis himself.
Oh. Warwick Davis. I'm gonna give you that right now. Warwick Davis is probably in like 7 of these movies.
What? And more coming up.
I know he's in Return of the Jedi, and I think he's in some of the later like Disney movies as well, like episode 7.
Yeah, I think he is too.
But I want to say he.
Oh my god!
Like they bring him back as kind of like a novelty because I think he played some of the Ewoks or something.
Yeah, he played Wicket.
Yeah.
Which means nothing to Cole.
I love Willow.
But yeah, he's been in a few Star Wars movies because he was in Return of the Jedi, so they bring him back for a few here and there.
That's awesome. I can't wait.
So Cole, you said that you fell asleep during the whole Darth Maul scene?
No.
Okay, so you saw Darth Maul then?
Oh, trust me, that's one of my last notes I have here.
All right,
is that Crimson Dawn, right? Was the boogeyman?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So Cole, Cole, did you like that?
I loved it.
Well, guess what? He never comes back.
You're kidding, right?
No. That's the last time you were ever going to see Darth Maul in any of these movies.
For fuck's sake, what's the purpose?
Well, this...
What is the purpose?
I'll tell you why. Because this was originally going to be a trilogy. When they originally were going to make this Han Solo spin-off movie. It was going to be a trilogy of movies, and then it's not going to happen. So they were like setting these little red herrings.
This movie made such less money than what they expected. They were just...
Well, I'm changing my grade on this movie. Now I'm pissed. He never come. That's ridiculous. I was so excited. And what a cool little turn at the end. I mean, I have my questions as to, like, you know, why he's still alive after he fell down that endless pit in episode 1. But that notwithstanding, I loved it because I love the Boogeyman.
Well, it's the last time you're ever going to see him in any of the movies we watch from now on.
Oh, my God. Now, I have to ask you, is her name Kira? Is that his, like, love interest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Do we see her more?
No.
What is the... Oh, my God.
No.
Okay. Well, now I suddenly hate this movie. I want more of the stories that were not finished in this movie.
Well, too bad.
Well, this
So
is
sad.
it. This is it.
Well, I'm going to have to contact my boy Clint Howard to tell him to get on it. God damn it.
I know. It's heartbreaking. I get it. Before we wrap the show up, do you have any other questions of what's coming down the road from this movie?
Yeah.
I have one more question. It's from the very first note I have here. Tell me again, why is this not on Disney Plus?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. And it's like a whole thing. I think Netflix had a deal with Disney before Disney Plus got established to have like certain movies just exclusive to Disney Plus. So I think the only ones left that are exclusive to Netflix and not Disney Plus are this and Infinity War.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, I don't have any more questions beyond that. I will tell you guys, because I thought this during the movie, I am freaking loving doing the Star Warantine.
I'm glad.
This is a blast, because never in my life, before current day or after current day, would I have ever even sat down to watch a freaking Star Wars movie, and I am having a freaking ball. And I hope all the listeners are having a blast, too.
Yeah, they seem to
like it. Are. They definitely are.
Oh, my God, it's so much fun.
So, what are you looking forward to in terms of, like, questions just for Star Wars in general going into the next movies?
So, I'm going to say I'm a pretty optimistic person in general, but I'm going to say I am looking into the original trilogy very pessimistically because I like the big budget, like over-the-top action type movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like you guys know from knowing me personally, like I like Transformers and like I like the over-the-top budget.
Sure.
So going back and watching a couple movies from the 70s and early 80s, I might have my reserves on these, just in terms of like how they're shot and how they're produced, because I don't normally enjoy a ton of those movies. I do like some classics, but I have my reservations on these ones coming up.
Okay,
but I am hoping that I get to see some more characters that I haven't seen yet.
And that you will. So like that was one of my one things I wondered going in because of your actual like love of the prequels for whatever reason, and I wondered how you were gonna take I'm not gonna say they are like slow paced, but definitely A New Hope is a slower pace than like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So that one might be a bit of a slog for you. I'm not sure. But at the same time, I'm not going to say they're paced faster, but they're shorter movies. And they don't like draw out so much like stuff that you don't need to really see, like this movie. Like that maybe you had to complain about, like the Solo, that you said in the very beginning that like I felt like they were drawn out scenes just because. Whereas like they don't do those so much in episodes 4, 5, and 6 because they were just like making them, and they're kind of like quick, like they're making quick jumps to here to here to here to here. But like it's still like not so, but in not like a jarring way.
Okay,
if that makes any sense.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, like I'm really curious on what you're gonna think going into the original ones, because it's like, yeah, the original trilogy is not building to anything. All these movies we've watched up to this point are building to something that's already existed. When you watch episode 4, that's the earliest movie that was ever made. They're not building to anything.
Yeah. They didn't even
So
know.
like the fact that you've watched so many movies that are building around that one movie, we're going to get to that, and you've already watched so many things that have already built to that.
This whole chronological thing is bizarre, guys.
I know, but that's why I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So what's coming up next week? I have to know.
So next week, we're still in the Disney Star Wars-averse, and this is going to be a movie. This is going to be the movie right before we get into the original trilogy, because it's going to be a movie that takes place directly right before Star Wars Episode 4, because we're talking about Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So this is going to be weird for you, because this is going to be a movie based on something that's talked about in Episode 4, where they talk about how a lot of people lost their lives trying to get the plans to the Death Star. This is the story of the people getting the plans to the Death Star.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no idea what I'm watching. I'm supposed to be excited about it.
This is all completely new characters you've never heard or seen, and they're not even really mentioned in later movies. They're just a team gets something for later events in the.
Yeah.
Is it a real movie, like real people? It's not a cartoon, right?
It's a real movie.
Yeah, no, it's people.
Okay, so I might like it a bit more than the Clone Wars.
Oh, I would say that you would. Like, if I could give my 2 cents on the movie going in, you don't need to know anything going in, really. Like, you can watch it for what it is and still enjoy it, because there's still, like, a thrill going in. It does help if you've seen Episode 4 beforehand, but still, I don't think it's going to ruin it for you. This movie might be... I don't know if I'm going to say it's going to be your favorite so far, because Episode 3, I think, is going to be that for you. But it is... I think you're still going to like this one coming up.
Yeah. You know, well, on me being like a big Star Wars fan, this is probably my favorite of the Disney Star Wars movies that they've made so far, just based on the fact that I was a Star Wars fan going in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited.
Yeah. I think you might like it. I'm not going to try to get your hopes up or anything like that, but I think you're going to like this next one coming up. It's a little bit of like
I think it has a darker tone than most Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, it does have a darker tone. Like it.
I didn't even know we were going off the path again.
Well, this is going to be the last.
Oh yeah.
This is going to be the last one off the beaten path.
Yeah, everything up to this point. Yeah, everything beyond here is just going to be the straight.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I'm excited, guys.
I hope you are. So next week is Rogue One, a Star Wars story, so check it out. But before we get into Rogue One, what would you grade Solo, a Star Wars story?
Okay. For me, let me start out by saying, on my notes, I have it as a B. Not necessary, but entertaining. After
okay.
You guys a little more, I'm going to give it a, because I feel that it's super not necessary,
Sorry, can you say what was your grade again? A B minus, you said?
Entertaining minus a couple scenes that drag.
Yeah. I'll probably do you one further and give it a C. Because I mean, it was fun for what it was, but yeah, going back and like thinking about everything that was like, man, this is kind of useless. So yeah, so I give it a C.
All right, you give it a C plus. Hot Take Havens, you give it a B minus. You know what? I am going to also be on the side of Hot Take Havens and give it a B minus as well. Like, even though I talked a lot of shit about this movie, I still had fun watching it. I almost wanted to root against it while watching it, and it ended up winning me over at some point. And I'm like, you know what? That was still fun. Like, I still enjoyed myself, and overall, as a movie, I think it's pretty well done. But as a Star Wars movie, I don't think it's necessary to even exist. So I'm like at a weird, tricky position. Like, I had fun with it. Should it exist? No. But I think it's like a B minus. So there you have it. So everybody, Cole, in general, if they want to talk to you about Star Wars, where could they do so?
Hey, you can find me at Coach Havens on Twitter.
Very good. JT, where can they hit you up?
You can find me at Bucky Phone on Twitter, also Bucky Phone on Snapchat.
You can find me at Troy to the Max on Twitter. You can find both me and JT on Review Pod on Twitter as well. While there, the Tournament of Random Movies is still open. This week, we got a family-friendly feud of Hook versus...
That's right. We got Wreck-It Ralph.
Yes, Wreck-It Ralph versus Hook. So check that out. All of our episodes are uploaded onto reviewpod.podbean.com, as well as every other podcasting hosting site there is out there. Heck, even YouTube. Nobody listens to it there, but it's there. And if you want to write into the show, you can do so. Nobody gives a shit about it. You can write in at reviewpod@gmail.com. So that's going to be the show. Next week, we have Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And this Thursday,
yes.
Before that even happens, we are going to have one of my picks for June again. Yeah, The Art of Self-Defense, which you can watch on Hulu. So, check it out. We got a plethora of things still coming. More Star Wars for sure. More Hot Take Havens and his journey through this chronological order of this anarchy. This is straight anarchy. But that's going to be the show. So until next time, I've been Short of the Max Extreme.
Hey, I'm JT3K.
And for Hot Take Havens, we are off.